Are you moving to a new home and dreading the hassle and cost of transferring your utility services? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're opening up the insider's playbook on how to transfer your utilities smoothly without paying a single dime in new deposits. Okay, let's really dive into this. If you're preparing for a move, you already know the expenses pile up fast, right? The boxes, the trucks, maybe buying a few stress pizzas to convince your friends to help lift that heavy sofa. And then bam, you get hit with unexpected utility transfer fees. Those sneaky upfront deposits can absolutely wreck a moving budget right when you need your cash the most. So today, we're going to empower you with the exact strategies you need to keep your money where it belongs, right in your pocket. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The utility deposit trap, 2. Evaluating your history, 3. The steps to waive those deposits, 4. Actual negotiation scripts, 5. Alternative options, and finally, number 6. How to handle unavoidable deposits. Let's get to it. Section 1. The utility deposit trap. Why you get charged and how much it actually costs. Let's demystify why these companies demand these annoying upfront fees in the first place. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer amount of money on the line here. Utilities basically require deposits to protect themselves against non-payment. If you have a limited credit history within their specific system, to them, you're an unknown risk. They usually calculate this by taking 1 to 2 months of the estimated average bill for that specific address. I mean, an electric deposit alone can run up to $400. And a combined electric and gas deposit, that can easily hit $500. Locking up $500 just for the privilege of keeping your refrigerator cold is a huge barrier when you're already paying for a move. And these fees aren't just arbitrary numbers made up by some grumpy customer service rep. What we're looking at is an official tariff rule from the Florida Public Service Commission. It proves that these are legally enforceable rules defined by state public utilities commissions, or PUCs. But here is the really good news. Just as the law allows utilities to charge these deposits, the law also provides you with specific, perfectly legal loopholes to establish your credit and bypass them entirely. Which brings us to Section 2, evaluating your history. Because your past payments are actually your best asset. Your current standing with utility providers is the ultimate key to avoiding these fees. Think of this as your absolute secret weapon. It's often called a utility passport, though in the industry it's formally known as a letter of credit or a letter of reference. It's simply a formal document from your prior utility proving that you've had 12 months of consecutive on-time payments with 0 disconnections. For most companies, presenting this document completely bypasses their standard credit checks. It basically acts as a documented goodwill letter from your old provider, proving your loyalty and validating that you are a zero-risk customer. The huge takeaway here: prioritize paying your current utility bill on time for the 12 months leading up to a move. It literally pays off. So, how do we actually get this? It's a simple, actionable 3-step process. First, contact your current provider before you move. Second, request a letter showing your 12-month clean payment history. Honestly, they handle these requests all the time, so don't be shy about asking. And third, submit this document to your new utility provider when you apply for service. Do this before you even pack your first moving box, and you are already miles ahead of the game. Moving right along to Section 3, steps to waive deposits. These are the legal workarounds to keep your cash if your situation is a bit different and you don't have that perfect 12-month history on paper. This right here is a fantastic workaround for renters. Let's compare a traditional credit check to a landlord letter of reference. Say you're moving out of an apartment where the utilities were bundled into your rent. You obviously won't have a direct utility payment history in your name, right? Well, some municipal utilities, like Austin Energy, for example, will actually let you substitute a traditional credit check with a signed copy of your lease and a landlord letter of reference. If your landlord can validate that you had 0 late rent payments for the last 12 months, boom, that acts as your credit substitute. Now for my favorite part, Section 4, negotiation scripts. Exactly what to say on the phone. I highly, highly recommend grabbing a screenshot of these next few slides. This is the art of negotiation, giving you the exact words to sound incredibly prepared and confident. Okay, picture this. The agent tells you their automated system requires a deposit because of a soft credit check. You reply, super confidently, "I would like to submit a formal letter of credit from my previous utility provider for manual review." See, customer service reps rely heavily on automated prompts, and those systems definitely do not proactively offer you waivers. By explicitly stating this, you are politely forcing the agent to step outside their rigid prompts and send your application to an actual human in the credit and collections team. You are completely taking control of the conversation. So the crucial point is knowing what levers to pull if you don't happen to have that perfect 12-month letter. Try this script instead. If I enroll in automatic recurring bank drafts and paperless billing today, will your company waive the upfront security deposit requirement? Here's the secret. Utilities absolutely love autopay because it guarantees they get their money. Providers like Georgetown Utilities actually offer this as a conditional enrollment waiver. It functions almost like a bundled loyalty discount. Just remember, this is a contract. If a payment fails or you cancel autopay before those 12 months are up, that deposit charge is going to instantly appear on your very next bill. Now, what if you get denied even when you know for a fact you qualify for an exemption? You escalate it. Politely but firmly. You say, I would like to request that my application be escalated to a supervisor. Could you please provide your name, agent ID number, and the specific section of your tariff that authorizes this deposit under these circumstances? Using this phrasing signals that you know your rights, you understand state regulatory standards, and you are absolutely not going to be brushed off by a frontline agent who's simply reading off a screen. All right, Section 5, Alternative Waiver Options. These are statutory exemptions you might actually qualify for if those first few options didn't pan out. Did you know many states outright prohibit deposits for certain protected groups? For instance, you might be able to avoid a deposit by using a third-party guarantor. This essentially transfers the service liability to a partner, roommate, or family member who has a much stronger credit score or payment record. Beyond that, many states legally mandate waivers for seniors 65 and older, survivors of domestic violence who can provide a certification letter, and low-income customers enrolled in community assistance programs like LEHAP. It is absolutely worth your time to research your specific state's exemptions. You might just fall into one of these protected categories. Finally, Section 6, Handling Unavoidable Deposits, Managing the Cost and Getting Your Money Back. Because sometimes, despite your absolute best efforts and perfectly rehearsed scripts, a deposit is just unavoidable. But don't worry, you still have powerful rights to protect your finances. First off, you do not always have to pay a massive lump sum right up front. States like Illinois actually mandate installment plans, which is a total lifesaver when you're trying to budget during a chaotic move. You have a statutory right to pay 1/3 on your first bill and spread the rest over the next 2 billing cycles. Then, your deposit is securely held in an interest-bearing account for 12 to 24 months. And the absolute best part? After 12 months of on-time payments, you can actively request a full refund. And this brilliantly illustrates that you haven't just thrown your money into a black hole. This Public Service Commission document shows that companies are legally mandated to pay you interest on your held deposit. We're talking sometimes 6 or even 9% minimum per year. And they must refund it after a set period of continuous, satisfactory payments. So it just sits there, growing, waiting for you to claim it. But to actually enforce those refund on request rights, don't just call and hope for the best. You need to send an email or a formal letter. Make sure you gather these 4 things: your account number, the exact date the deposit was paid, your 12 months of clean payment history, and your forwarding address. When you cite your state-specific PUC rule in writing, it forces their compliance team to manually review your account and cut you a check with interest. I mean, it's your money, right? Make sure you ask it back. Now, a very quick but super important disclaimer as you prepare for your big move. Utility policies, tariff rules, and deposit amounts vary widely by state, region, municipality, and even whether the provider is public or private. Definitely use the strategies we discussed today, but always do your own local research and verify the exact rules and consumer protections with your specific utility provider. Ready to claim your waivers and keep your cash? You now have the Insider's Playbook. You know the rules, you have the exact scripts to use, and most importantly, you know your legal rights. So the next time a utility company tries to hold $500 of your hard-earned money hostage, are you going to just hand over your credit card, or are you going to use these tools to take your power back? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And hey, happy moving.